You are a superhero. Now I want you to turn to someone beside you and do the same thing. So I asked my 28-year-old son, I said, Trent, who is your favorite superhero? And he really kind of surprised me. He said Batman. As Bruce Wayne, he witnessed his parents being murdered. It was after the murder of his parents that he began to discover his passion, his talent, but then he began to develop that talent. We're going to help you discover and develop and deploy your talents. What was your response when you took the StrengthsFinder assessment? I like to say that in the years that I've been coaching people around their strengths, that there's 4 types of responses. There's that, oh, really? But once we discover our strengths, there is the next part. That is, how do we develop these strengths? Because we need to grow these strengths. Let me share a quick research program that was done in the University of Nebraska. And what they did is they created a coaching and training program a year long to teach people how to be speed readers and have better comprehension. So they took average readers who could read 90 words a minute. They put them through the year-long coaching and training, and they progressed to 150 words a minute. That's pretty good. That's a 66% increase. So how many of you would take a 66% increase on your portfolio? Of course. I mean, that's pretty good. So then they took people who were already gifted and talented with speed reading. They could read 350 words a minute. They put them through the very same coaching and training program for the year. What do you think happened? Let's take a quick vote. How many of you say that those readers got worse? Raise your hand. How many of you say, oh, they got better? How many of you don't care? Okay. So what happened was they went from 350 words to 2,900 words a minute. 800% improvement. Sure. You could take something that you're average at and you could do some training with it, and you'll probably remain average. You can take something that you're gifted at, where you have superpower potential, and if you add knowledge and skills to it, then you have a return on those strengths. Now, my way of describing this is, how well do you drive your strengths? Think of them as 5 different vehicles. Okay? One of them might be a Hummer. One of them might be a Love Boat. You can have a combination of these 5 different talents in yourself, but how well do you drive it? Well, Batman had to learn how to drive the Batmobile, didn't he? And there's a time to speed up, there's a time to slow down, there's a time to shift gears, there's a time to employ different kind of strategic weaponry from that Batmobile. So imagine what I call a strengthometer. 0 to 120 miles per hour. And if you think about 0 to 40 miles per hour, this is what I call coasting with your strengths. So, for example, maybe you have responsibility, but you're not showing up on time for meetings. You're coasting with that strength. Or maybe you have the talent of communication, but you're too afraid to speak in front of crowds. So you're coasting with that strength. There was one woman that I was leading in a workshop and coaching in Afghanistan a few years ago. And she had a burqa on, and these were young entrepreneurs. And she said, Brent, I have woo as my #1 strength. And she said, in Afghanistan, I'm not even allowed to initiate conversations with people. So can you imagine what the environment had influenced her woo? She's coasting with her woo instead of being able to transform it and use it the way she really could. On the far side is what I call speeding with your strengths. This is when you're going 80 to 120 miles per hour, okay? You're driving so fast with your particular strength that you can have a wreck or get pulled over and get a speeding ticket, which I have gotten a few. And when you have this wreck, it can hurt yourself and it can hurt others when you're speeding and overusing the strength. But what we want to do is we want to get to this place of cruising with our strengths. That optimal zone, I say, is about 65 to 80. And so you are driving the right strength at the right speed at the right time. Really? We gotta take another assessment? Are you kidding me? I've taken the DISC, I've taken the MBTI, I've taken, the 16 PF personality factors. I already know it all. I don't need to take an assessment. I was that person as well. We were moving into our little bitty rat hole apartment, and I put the can opener up on the counter. My wife said, that's not where the can opener goes. I said, babe, there are 3 reasons why this can opener goes right here on the countertop. Number 1, that is where the electrical plug is. Number 2, that is a lot less work leaving it right here on top of the countertop. And number 3, and probably the most important reason that can opener goes right there, is because that's where my mother put it. The point of the story is that I was overusing my competition strength, and I had to learn. I had to develop knowledge and get skills and start practicing how to take that competition and actually turn it around for the good of my marriage. And I did. One day I had enough. These long, gnarly branches from a tree were out over my pool in our backyard. And the sunlight couldn't get to the pool. And leaves were also falling into the pool. So I decided I had enough. So I went and got my ladder. And I put my ladder up against a tree. And I climbed 45 feet. That's 4.5 stories. I tied off my ladder. I went back down. I got my chainsaw. And I started climbing that ladder all the way to the top. As I got to the top, I started, cutting off the branches that were blocking the sunlight. And man, it hit me. You need balance for this. Have you ever heard this statistic? Most people do not remember a name, a product, or a service until they have seen or heard it 5 times. So the more that you speak, or write, or you share or network, the more people see you, you become more visible, and your products become more visible.
Hi, I'm Ed Myrick, and this was my first exposure ever to strengths training. And I really cannot believe how accurate those 5 strengths are and how they apply to your life. Even better than that, Brent O'Bannon was able to take those 5 strengths and drive it home to show you how it has purpose and how you can improve your life, your work life, and your personal life with those 5 strengths. I'm looking forward to coming back to his next session. I would definitely say you need to take this class because it is life-changing.
I think StrengthsFinder is incredibly relevant, especially for organizations who want to boost employee engagement and boost productivity.
I really enjoyed Brent as a speaker. I thought he was really great. He engaged with the crowd really well, and He just kept everyone active.
I can assure you that it's well worth the time investment for your team to not only take the assessment, but spend the day with a guy like Brent, who really is an expert at guiding your team through ways that they can use these strengths to your advantage. And so that was a really fun and insightful way to spend the day.